trusses on top of the building are for. The tall part of the Boeing building is firmly planted in the ground. Most metal structures are essentially an extendo arm reaching out from the tall side, lifting and holding up the short side of the building over the railroad tracks down below. If there was a failure in those metal trusses and one of them broke, that's essentially like dropping the short side of the building. The entire short side would fall, and you can imagine there'd be some problems. Now, I point this out, and again, it's already death-defying architecture, and we're already at it. What makes this death-defying architecture even scarier is it's the Boeing building. But there is good news. Boeing engineers had nothing to do with the planning or execution of this building, so you're fine. If you're going to fall out of a building, or out of a Boeing, it's going to be a lot higher than the 14th floor of this building. But now take a look at the building on our left and on our right. The building on our left faces the river. The building on our right doesn't. The building on our right was meant to be the most expensive and ornate opera house in America. And it was for 11 days. Chicago is a city of bad timing. We opened that in 1929, about 13 days. And as impressive as it is, it's not even the most impressive building on the block. Look at its neighbor just past it, and look at the base of this building. The base in for gray champagne glass. This is a building that should not exist. Chicagoans have been told for 75 years you cannot build a building on this location. There are 5 active, and some believe those active railroad tracks in the city running underneath this building. There's only one way you could have ever built a building on this location, and that is to have a building exactly with a base of 39 feet wide. That's exactly what that is. A 39-foot wide base. That 39-foot wide base is supporting a 56-story tall building. Now, I am not a mathematician. I just know that math doesn't add up. And if you put it into human perspective, it makes even less sense. If I was this building, I am 6'3", ladies. I'm 6'3". If I was this building, it's the equivalent of me on my tippy toes bouncing on top of a poker chip. So how does the building stay upright?